Myself Satyajit Mohapatra. I am going to elaborate a topic limit and teach you the different problems. First we will study the outlines. All of you see outlines are limit of a function, definition using epsilon delta notations. Third one is different problems of limit we will do after going through the definitions. Then problems at infinity. Something tends to infinite if there is how to do the problems based on infinity. All of you know that everything in this universe has a limit and all we are confined within the limit. If we cross the limit, something odd is there to happen with us. Hence, this is the theoretical view, but mathematically, limit depends on a real number line, how two parallel line x-axis and y-axis act simultaneously, and that concept is brought by epsilon delta notation. Here all of you know that epsilon and delta are two very small positive quantity or numbers, very negligible. You can assume all those values epsilon and delta nearly equals to 0. Suppose if we consider delta as 0.1 or 0.01, epsilon is also very similar to delta but slightly greater than delta. If we compare between epsilon and delta, epsilon is slightly greater than delta, both are very negligible. Those values are very negligible, equals to 0. All of you see, first we will do limit of a function, the definition. What do you mean by limit of a function mathematically? Then the definition using epsilon delta notations I will show you. Then different problems of limit we will do, and problems and infinity, some examples based on infinity. Okay, all of you see limit of a function. Let f be a function defined in some neighborhood of a. A is a point here, a is a point. We have to define the limit in the neighborhood of a. Neighborhood of a means s left hand side and right hand side both will come into effect except possibly at a itself. So the limit values we will consider for the point A, that means the point A's left hand side, the right hand side, excluding the point A itself. Let x be the independent variable, then surely x minus s mod. This x minus s mod means x is a variable quantity, a is a constant, their difference is very negligible. Suppose x minus s mod means their difference and the difference modulus, that will bring you a positive quantity, can be made as small as we like, very smaller, or in other words x can be made approach to a. So here actually what happens, x is approaching to a, all of you see x is approaching to a, simultaneously f of x is approaching to L. How this happen I will show you in the next slide. For any epsilon, this is the definition of limit through epsilon delta notations. All of you see, for any epsilon greater than 0, however small, there exists a delta greater than 0 such that f of x minus L's modulus less than epsilon whenever x minus s modulus lying between 0 and delta. All of you just see here. X minus s modulus lying between 0 delta means it's a very negligible or smaller quantity. The difference value will be smaller than delta. Delta is a very small positive number and the difference between x and a is smaller than delta. That means it's too negligible. It means when x tends to a, f of x tends to L. Come to the next slide. Draw a real number line, suppose x here. Just a minute. Draw a real number line, suppose x axis. This one, suppose y axis. All of you see there is a point A here. Simultaneously a point L is here. All of you know y is equals to f of x. Y is a function of x. When x is approaching to A, it may approach to A from left or from right side. At that time, f of x is approaching to L. F of x is approaching to L, either from left or from right side. So when x tends to A from left hand side, at that time f of x tends to L from left hand side, or you can say x tends to A from left hand side means left hand limit arises. When x tends to A from right side, right hand limit arises. When x tends to A, we can write x minus s modulus is less than delta. When f of x tends to L, we can write f of x minus L's modulus is less than epsilon. Considering these two things simultaneously, you can write when limit x tends to A, at that time f of x tends to L means f of x equals to L. This is the concept of limit, all of you see. So delta and epsilon both are very small positive values. Here delta and epsilon slightly greater than 0, slightly greater than 0, very small positive number. You can assume delta as 0.001 and epsilon as 0.01. Between these two, actually epsilon is slightly greater than delta. This is the definition of limit. When x tends to A, either from left or right, f of x tends to A. In the same case, either from left or right hand side. So these two data gives you the conclusion limit x tends to A, f of x equals to L. Okay. Okay, just a minute, we'll go back. I'll show you some problems, how it is being carried out. All of you see this is a question. Limit x tends to 0, cos x by 1 plus sin x. In this case, you can directly put the value of x so that undefined form should not arise. If any undefined form arises, you have to avoid that. You can do this, all of you see. All of you see. Try to understand. Here limit x tends to 0. You can put x0 directly. We are getting here limit x tends to 0, cos x by 1 plus sin x. While you put limits value, you should not write limit at that point of time. It becomes cos 0 by 1 plus sin 0. What we have done here actually? We just have put x value directly. Cos 0 value, all of you know from trigonometry, is 1 by 1 plus sin 0, all of you know, is 0. This gives us a value which is defined. So here 1 is a finite value. It's a finite value and defined, it's not undefined, so it can be our answer. This can be treated as our answer. Clear? Come to the next question. All of you see here, this is a problem at infinity. Here limit n tends to infinite. This is a series. This is the cube, sum of cubes of first n natural numbers, then whole divided by n4. What to do? Here you have to do, just I am going to show you. Try to see this one. Limit n tends to infinite, you have to write at each step 1 cube plus 2 cube plus 3 cube up to n cube. There is a formula, it's known to all. That formula is n whole into n plus 1 by 2 its whole square. Then we have divided by n4. You can write here 1 by n4 wholly divided. Then solve this one. Limit n tends to infinite n square whole into n plus 1 whole square divided by 2 square is 4. Then this one is n4. You can cancel n square n4. The denominator contains n square. Then this 1 by 4 is a constant. You can take it out. Limit n tends to infinite. Then we have n plus 1 whole square by n square. Make this one as a whole square. How to do? 1 by 4 limit n tends to infinite. All of you see this can be written as n plus 1 by n whole square. Limit n tends to infinite. We can make n by n is 1 plus 1 by n its whole square. No further simplification is possible. This is the ultimate step. Here is the right time to use limit. How to use limit? I have already told you. While using limit, don't write the limit, just put the value of n, 1 plus 1 by n. What is n here? N tends to infinite. Put infinite, its whole square. It becomes 1 by 4 whole into 1 plus 1 by infinite. The value is 0, its whole square. This becomes 1 by 4 into 1, that equals to 1 by 4. It's a finite value, hence it can be our answer. It's a finite value. All of you see. Okay. In this way, you have to solve the problems and infinite. Your target should be n at the denominator. N should be at the denominator. Solve the question, bring the situation so that n should be only at the denominator position. So that here n tends to infinite. If we put n infinite, it becomes 0. Your target intention should be always to bring n at a denominator. Okay. Come to the next slide. Here you see this is a question. Limit x tends to 0, e to the power x minus e to the power minus x by x. All of you know that limit has so many formula. So many formula limit has. 9 to 10 formula are there. While I will do the questions, I will write the formula you have to get. Try to understand this one. Evaluate this question. Limit x tends to 0. We have e to the power x minus this one. So we can do minus 1 and a plus 1 without hesitation by x. All of you see. Then limit x tends to 0. E to the power x minus 1, keeping in bracket, take a minus common from these two, it becomes e to the power minus x minus 1. We have whole divided by x. Then what happens? Make separation. This one by x1 with limit, keep it in bracket wholly. Then we have minus. Again use limit for second time. Limit x tends to 0. This one is e to the power minus x minus 1 by x. So what is the formula to be put here? The formula says us, there is a limit formula, very important. Limit x tends to 0, e to the power x minus 1 by x is equals to 1. So this is the formula we have to put here. Whatever is each power, that one is divided and that variable should tend to 0. If these three things happen simultaneously, the value becomes 1. All of you try to get what is here in place of x. That is ax. We must have ax here and here ax. We must have tends to 0. For the next part, the power is minus x. We must have minus x here and minus x tends to 0. What to do to bring all these things here? All of you see. Limit x tends to 0, e to the power x minus 1 by x we have Hey, x tends to 0, so obviously x tends to 0. Keep this in bracket, minus. We must have here minus x and here minus x. What to do? This is obvious. If x tends to 0, minus x obviously tends to 0. Minus x tends to 0. E to the power minus x minus 1 by, we don't have here minus x, only x. So divide minus a, multiply a minus a. All of you see, by formula this becomes 1 into this one is a. By formula of limit this one becomes 1 into minus a. This becomes a minus minus a. The answer becomes a plus a, that is 2a. This is our answer. Try to get. Okay. So all these problems are very useful. Must be understood based on different formula. So different questions to be solved using different formula in different methods or ways. Okay. Come to the next question. Here you see. This is the above one is a polynomial. The below one is also a polynomial. The above one is a quadratic expression and the below one is also quadratic expression. What happens here? If you put directly the values of x, here x tends to 1. If you put 1 here, what happens? All of you see, 1 square minus 4 into 1 plus 3 by 1 square minus 6 plus 5. We are getting 4 minus 4 by 6 minus 6. That becomes 0 by 0. You know all 0 by 0 is undefined. It's an undefined form or known as indeterminate. Indeterminate. To avoid this, what to do? First you have to solve the question. Bring the smallest or simplest possible form. At the end use the limit. This is the way. So you have to avoid, this should not be done because 0 by 0 is coming, which is an undefined or indeterminate form. So what to do? You have to simplify. You can solve the above and below by middle factorization. All you know, very much acquainted with this. Think two numbers whose addition is minus 4, multiplication is 1 into 3, that is 3. Those numbers are minus 3, minus 1. Similarly, here it will be minus 5x minus x plus 5. Limit x tends to 1. From the first two, it's x common. We have x minus 3. From the last two, minus 1 can be common. It's x minus 3. Similarly, at below or denominator, you have to do. Limit x tends to 1. It becomes x minus 3 whole into x minus 1 divided by x minus 5 whole into x minus 1. The common factor is x minus 1. You can cancel without any hesitation. Then the final one should be written again with limit x minus 3 by x minus 1. Now try to put the value of x so that 0 by 0 form should not come. It become 1 minus 3 x 1a, 1 minus 5 minus 2 by minus 4, that becomes 1 by 2. It's a final value, so it can be our answer. Try to get. So here what things we got actually here, if 0 by 0 form is coming by putting directly or initially the value of x, we have to avoid, you have to first simplify the question, bring the smallest or simplest possible form, at the end use the limit. Okay. There are so many questions. This is a question. How to do this? You have to, this is a cubic expression. x cube. The below one is biquadratic or quadratic equation. You see just x tends to 3, put 3 here. What is coming actually by putting 3 here? All of you see, by putting 3, 3 is cube minus 7 into 3 square plus 15 into 3 minus 9 divided by 3 to the power 4, 5 into 3 is cube plus 27 into 3, then minus 27. You have to count this one. 3 is cube, all you know, 27. 7 into 9, 63 plus 45 minus 9 divided by 3 to the power 4, 81. This one is 5 into 27. 5 into 27, 135. 27 into 3, 27x. 27 3 is 81. Then minus 27. What happens here? 27 plus 45, that is 73. Sorry, 72. This one minus 72. 0 by 81 plus 81, 162. This one minus 162. 0 by 0 form is coming. So you cannot do this. You cannot do this because 0 by 0 form is coming. What to do? First divide both numerator and denominator by x minus 3, because we have checked here, we have checked out x tends to 3, that means x equals to 3 is a factor of both the expressions. So better you have to divide both the expressions by x minus 3, bring the simplest form, at the end use limit x tends to 3. Just I have shown this method in the previous question. Following that you have to do 0 by 0 form coming. So this is undefined, all you know. To avoid this, you have to divide both the expressions, polynomial expressions, by what? X minus 3. After dividing by x minus 3, this cubic equation becomes a quadratic equation and this quartic or biquadratic becomes a cubic equation. Then cancel the common factor, bring all those two simplest polynomials, again try to divide. If there is some common factor, bring the simplest form, at the end use limit x tends to 3. Okay, this is the way. Come to the next question. All of you see, this is a trigonometrical question. Okay, this is trigonometry with limit. If you put x0 here, 1 minus cos 0 by 0 square, 1 minus 1 by 0, 0 by 0, undefined. This form is clearly undefined. What to do? You cannot do this. 1 minus cos 4x, there is a formula, all of you know. What is 1 minus cos 2x formula? All of you know. Hence what will be 1 minus cos 4x? Okay. So 1 minus cos 4x becomes 2 sin square 2x. What we have here? X square. What is the formula to be used? The formula is limit x tends to 0, sin x by x equals to 1. This is the formula of limit. Okay. Limit x tends to 0, sin x by x is 1. Similarly, limit 2x tends to 0, sin 2x by 2x is also 1. What you have here? Sin square 2x. So now just try to get this point, very important. Do squaring both the sides. Its square will be sine square 2x by 2x square is 4x square equals to 1 square becomes 1. We must have this one so that 1 can be written for that. Come back to your question. 2 is a constant having no role. Take this out simply. Limit. If x tends to 0, obviously 2x tends to 0. We have at a Nemo sine square 2x. What we need at a denominator? All of you see 4x square. What do we have? X square. So divide a 4, multiply a 4. Okay. We have to divide a 4, multiply a 4. Now see 2 into 4 becomes 8. Then we can write this one as limit 2x tends 0 sine 2x by this one 2x its whole square. Look at this step, very important. Limit 2x tends to 0 sine 2x by 2x whole square will be this one. Okay, you have to bring, we have just checked there, tested, we must have 4x square at denominator. What we had? X square. We have to divide a 4, multiply a 4. Then this becomes 8 into, this by formula is 1 square, 8 into 1 which is equals to 8. 8 is our answer. Clear? Formula is very important. This step is also crucial. Formula, at the place of x, anything may come, 2x, 3x, minus 4x. So, you should consider better to consider this one as something. Limit something tends to 0, sine something by something equals to 1. Anything can be in place of something. So, here in place of x, we have 2x. So, 2x must be here. And do squaring both the sides. Here this step, how it came from this step? Just by doing squaring both the sides. All of you see. Its square. Limit is a function. Its square cannot be. It remains at that position always. Sine 2x whole square is sine square 2x. 2x whole square is 4x square. Come back to a question. What we have actually here? 2 is a constant taken out. Sine square 2x. Angle is 2x here. So square form x square divided 4 multiply 4. Okay. Come to the next question. All of you see, this is a question based on quadratic forms and also problems at infinity. Problems at infinity. X tends to infinite. What to do here? Very similarly, limit x tends to infinite. Do rationalization here. What is rationalization? We have x4 plus a square root over minus multiply with this, the same with positive sign, x4 plus a square root over plus this one was not there, we have multiplied, so we must have to divide. We must have to divide. This process is known as rationalization. What happens next? X square whole into a minus b whole into a plus b, a square means it becomes this one, minus b square, its square, then divided by, we have here what benefit we got here? Try to get all. Until you put the limit, you have to write the limit. X square into x4 minus x4 cancel, a square minus minus plus a square, this becomes 2a square divided by, we have here x4 plus a square plus x4 minus a square. This is in simplest form. If you put again x infinite, this one will be infinite by infinite. To avoid this, bring 2a square to out, limit x infinite. Just divide this x square with this one. All of you know 2 is equals to 1 whole divided 1 by 2. Yes or no? 3 equals to 1 divided by 1 by 3. Very similarly, we can bring x square to denominator. We can divide with this. 1 by x4 plus a square root over by x square, that can be written x4's root over. So it becomes its whole root over. Again I am explaining, x square is divided with this one. We can write x4's root over. So root over of this one by root over of x4. Collectively whole root over of this one. Similarly, plus x4 minus a square root over by x square can be written as x4's whole root over. Okay, then this becomes 2a square. Now this is the last step. 1 by x4 becomes 1 plus a square by x4. I have already said you, when you have x tends to or n tends to infinite, your intention should be to bring x or n at the denominator only, excluding numerator. And you see here, x is only at the denominator, not anywhere at the numerator position. x4 by x4 1 minus a square by x4 root over. Okay, next this is the ultimate step, and this is the step which needs the putting of x. Now put the value of x. X tends to infinite. 1 plus a square by infinite, this becomes 0, plus 1 minus a square by infinite, also 0. Then this becomes 2a square by 1 plus 1, that is 2. Answer becomes a square. A square is a finite value. We have to stop here. This is our answer. So what we have done in this class, actually we just have gone through the definition of limit. What is limit mathematically, how it happens, what is the meaning of limit using epsilon delta notations, then some problems are based on from infinity, from polynomial or algebraic expressions, from trigonometry. All these things are very important. Next we will meet with some different problems and with continuity. Okay, okay, thank you.